Good evening, everyone. I'm here with my wonderful wife, Laura.
Hello.
And we're here to take a look at and review the Lego board game, Creationary.
Yes. Now, if you've heard of Pictionary, you may be thinking, that sounds a little similar.
Because it is. Instead of drawing, you build Lego.
Pretty much. Our copy is pretty beaten up, but it does have like the actual Lego logo normally on the front of the box.
This was an obvious second-hand purchase.
Definitely. We treat our games a little better than that. Now this is a 3 to, I think, is it 8 player game? So we can't actually play it because, of course, there's only 2 of us. So a review only today.
Nor would we probably play it because we have played it several times before and it actually takes quite some time to get through a single game.
Yeah, so on the box they recommend 30 to 60 minutes, but I think that depends on how well you can build things.
Yeah, so...
So the idea of the game is to score points by having someone else correctly guess what you're building.
And if they happen to do that, you get a point for building well and they get a point for guessing.
Yes. Up to 5. So the first player to get 5 points is the winner.
Yeah.
So we have 3 different sets of cards over here, and this is what determines what you'll build.
So you have beginner, advanced, and expert cards, which is 1, 2, and 3 question marks.
So beginner is there with the 1. Then we have the 2 question mark cards there, and then the expert, a few less of those with the 3 question marks.
And obviously they're more difficult categories to build the harder you go along.
Not difficult categories, the same categories across all 3 cards, but
different
more difficult items to build, yes. So the youngest player actually goes first and will roll the die to get the ball rolling, or the die rolling.
So there are 4 main categories.
Yes, so we have
buildings, things, vehicles, and nature.
So depending on what you roll, you will build something from that category. So say I wanted to go with beginner because I need to go with beginner.
Yeah, definitely.
And say if I rolled the buildings category, on this card I'd have to build a church. If I got the vehicles, I'd be building like a
boat, and nature would be some sort of bird, and a bed for the things.
Yes. So say I had to build the church, I can't show this card to anyone because the other players actually have to guess what I'm building. So I'd have a little look. Put the card down, and then this is what I've got to work with.
Yeah, so we've actually colour-coded them nicely, which is where it should be at the start of the game, which is a real pain if they've been mixed up.
Yes. So in this beginners category, something like the church, probably not going to be too hard with the general structure. You know, you can put some pieces together to build like a building. I'm not going to do that because I'm actually quite dreadful at pretending with Lego and trying to build things like that. I like a set of instructions with my Lego.
Yeah, the thing I found was, so someone, say Laura's building her church, and me and another friend are sitting around going, what is she building? I don't know if you've ever built anything freehand, but that actually takes quite some time to build something, generally.
Ta-da, here's my church.
Wonderful.
So if Nathan somehow managed to look at this and say, aha, you're building a church, I would then receive a point. So I keep the card that I picked up and put it over here to count 1 point. And
then I would also take a card, or some sort of something.
So Nathan also takes the same card because he guessed right. So he actually gets a point as well. So it's in your best interest, if you're the builder, to do a good job.
And it's in your best interest to try and guess what they're building to also get a point.
Yes, because there's 2 different ways. Had we gone with the, was it intermediate? Advanced category, I mean, they get like a little bit more difficult. You have some more like curvy shapes, a little bit more unusual, which is quite difficult, I think, with rectangles. How?
Was it a boy or a buoy? That would be an interesting one to do.
Yeah, so they kind of get harder with the shapes because a lot of your pieces, for instance, in the blue, they're all rectangles.
I mean, most of them
squares.
Have got the basic Lego bricks. There's a couple sort of rounder ones in some of the other colours, but...
Yeah, so there's different pieces in each sort of colour that I just want to focus on. We've got some little green. If you've got a vehicle, there are some wheels and tyres there.
A couple of see-through transparent blocks.
Yeah, we've got a little flame. There you go. You'd need that for the media, wouldn't you? The little flame piece.
A generic Lego dude.
And a mini one in there
Which is unusual, but these usually... Does he normally come here?
Yes. Yes, he does. So you've got some pipes. So you do have some more unique pieces. But it does obviously get harder, especially if you're playing with kids.
Now, there are actually 2 other spots on the die. So there is a ×2.
Yep.
And a question mark. So the ×2 you're going to say?
So if you roll the ×2, double points are up on offer. So instead of just getting 1 card, 1 point, you have the opportunity to earn 2, as well as the person who guesses it correctly. They also get double points.
But you don't get to pick the category.
Oh, yes. So somebody else gets to pick the category.
The player on the left.
Thank you. Yep, for you. So they might say, yeah, pick a category, Nathan.
Nature.
And I'll go the advanced. Oh, I've got to build the starfish now. So it's a little trickier, but worth it if you can still pull it off, those extra points.
And the question mark is pretty simple. Basically, before you pick up a card and pick a category, you have to pick the category before you pick up the card.
So for me, I would probably go with like building, because most of those are a bit more rectangular, a bit more simple. So I'd say building, and then I'd have to build that particular building.
So that's the general base game, but there are a couple of advanced or additional rules you can play by.
Yes, so just to confirm though, 5 points deems you the winner. I think there's you can kind of tie, because if the same person's kind of always guessing, you could always end up both getting a point and ending up on 5 at the same time.
And it doesn't mention anything in the rules about what happens in that case, so I don't know.
No, and in the regular game, there's no time limit. Now, we've played this with a group of 4 before, and the 3 of us who weren't building just sat there waiting for the person building.
That was the biggest problem. Was it's a really awesome concept, but there was just a lot of waiting around for the person not building.
Yes, especially when that person is really making an effort and has gone for a complicated one, and they're trying to do it right, and you're like, yep, don't know what it is yet, just waiting around.
So as per most of these Lego board game one, there's a Your Game, Your Rules. There's a couple of additional ones they've suggested. One of them is Big Scores, which basically takes into account the number of question marks. Mm-hmm. You get, go on.
Sorry. So if you do a beginner's card, that's worth 1 point, 1 question mark, 2 points for this, or 3 points for this. They do suggest raising the amount for winning to 10 though,
yes,
if you are going to go with that. Because otherwise getting to 5, if you are really good at it, it's going to be pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's also Race Against the Clock. At the start of the game, choose a time limit, for example, 15 minutes, and everyone plays together as a single team, trying to get as many correct guesses within the time limit.
Yes, I would suggest imposing a time limit just in the normal way of playing on everyone. Like we said, you do end up waiting quite a while if the person's putting a lot of effort in, so. And
the final thing is you can make up your own categories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Lego. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, that said, they do cover quite a lot on the cards. I mean,
build a steak.
Oh, there you go, there's the pig.
There was a shoe store there too.
Yeah, so many different things. So I mean, you can, like you said, add more to it just on pieces of paper, but I think there's a lot here. I don't think you really need to add more personally, but
yeah, I'd definitely impose some sort of time limit on even just the basic game. Otherwise, you could be here for far longer than the suggested 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, and it's up to 8 players, isn't it?
Oh my god, 8 people playing.
Yeah.
You could be here for days.
Especially if you've got some people who maybe aren't too good at building, like me.
And as usual, we didn't mention at the start, it will have a scan of at least the English section of the manual, in case you don't have it when you buy it.
Yes, exactly. Maybe it's missing. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comment section down below if you prefer to build Lego with instructions like I do, or whether you're happy to sort of freestyle a bit like this. Then maybe this is the game for you if you do like that.
I really like the concept, I'm just impatient.
Me too. Hit that subscribe button and check back soon. We have videos every single Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.